Different seasons in your life will require a different version of yourself. Now, before I even get into this video, I'm sorry for the sweat. I just came from the gym, right? But that's what brings me to this video. Last night I was, getting things prepared because we've had a string of wonderful weather. It has been in the 80s, right? And I'm so grateful sometimes that a thought will come to me from the smallest things. You see, I was debating within myself, should I put away all my hoodies because we've had a string of good weather? So I'm like, maybe it's time for me to start putting up my stuff because it's hot. But then I looked at weather for next week and it's back down. Now, for some people, I might have lost you already, but there's a message. You see, it is not summer, but because we have experienced a week and a half, sometimes we tend to move out of season. You see, if this season has been nothing but 50s and 60s, and then you have a couple of days that it's 80, for some people, they will go throw on them short shorts. Some guys will throw on the tank tops and they'll go out and they will be out of season. Now they spend the whole week and a half sick. Sometimes you might be going through a season where God wants you to tell the world how much he's blessed you. That season is the, hey, God has done this for me. See, those are the easy seasons. But then you will go through a season where God wants you to shut up. He just wants you to be still, be quiet. And that's when it gets hard, because in the season of silence, that's when the people will talk about you the most. And because a different season requires a different version of you, you mess up being out of season. So these people are talking about you, they running your name through the mud, and God wants you to just be still, but you start talking because you want to address everything that people are saying. And what happens is, you being out of season, you will miss your blessing. You see such and such is saying, yeah, they this, that, yeah, she, blah, 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 blah. And what you're doing is you're addressing something that God has already worked out. You see, sometimes God will show you a little to see what you're going to do with it. He'll open the door a little bit and you like, ooh, and then you talk too much. If you've been following me, you know I went through some health issues. Now, in that season, God was telling me I need to let the world know what I'm going through. Now, you haven't heard me talk about any of that anymore. You know why? Because then God said, just be quiet. Just be quiet. Because in the quietness is when God speaks to you. And a lot of times people don't like to be silent. You always got to have stuff going on. The TV got to be on. This got to be on. You always got to be doing something, because when you're silent is when you hear him the most. And sometimes when you're hearing him, it's something that you don't want to hear. Different seasons require a different version of you. Sometimes you'll go through a season and people celebrate you. That's good. But then you'll go through a season where it seems like everybody that you put stock in is talking about you and leaving you. And the problem is, when you're out of season, you will run and chase them. And what God is trying to do is saying, let them go. Because holding on to them is delaying the next version of you. And for a lot of people, this is when the problem comes, because it is so easy to walk away from a situation, but it's so hard when that situation walks away from you. You can be having issues with your friends. And you know what the easy thing to do is? I'm done with y'all. I'm moving on. So then when you talk to somebody and they like, hey, you talk to such and such, I don't fool with them no more. Then you'll mess around and put God on it. Yeah, because God is lifting me up, so I'm through with them. That's the easy part. But what about when they leave you? What about when you calling them and they not answering the phone? What about when you looking on social media and you see them liking everybody else's stuff, commenting on everybody's stuff, but when it comes to you, it's crickets? What do you do then? See, it's easy when you left, but when they leave, we have a habit of trying to run and get them back. And you might be in the season that God wants you to be in isolation, because you have to learn who you are. And part of the problem that we have as a people, we don't know who we are. You ever known someone that they are a different person depending on who they're around? Like you see this person over here, they the toughest in the world because they're around tough people. Then they get around some people that was always complaining and stuff. Then they complain. Then they get around strong people, and then now they the strongest. They don't know who they are. And when you don't know who you are, the world will try to show you who you are. That's why you have to do the work on yourself and you have to stay in season. My youngest son, he will throw on a hoodie in 100-degree weather. And it just irks my nerves because what are you doing? But then it seems like when the temperature drops, you don't need a hoodie. Like, it's just like, it's mind-boggling to me when I go to the store and I see, especially in the summertime, a bunch of young kids with their hoodies on, you jogging pants on. I get nervous. And I'm looking like, what? Like, because they're out of season. See, the season is summertime. And this is the thing where you have to have discernment. You have to know what season you're in. Right now, if you're going through some mess and it feels like you have nobody to turn to, or you going through a season of isolation, and it ain't that you have nobody to turn to, you just don't want to look up, because when you look up, it requires work. See, the easiest thing to do is to stay the same. The easiest thing to do is to conform to what's around you. That's easy. That doesn't require work. But when you're going through the season of isolation and all you can do is look up, that's where the work starts. Different seasons require a different version of yourself. You just got to know and understand what season you're in.